The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Tuesday episode Running Point on YSNLive.com. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends in the top right-hand corner of the screen right there, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. We have a beautiful Tuesday afternoon show for you today. We're going to do what we always do, recap the action from last night, talk about the games that went down on Monday. We're going to have a player profile featured for you today. That's one of the ways that we go the extra mile for you, just like our partners over at Greenwood Chevrolet. It's going to be Niles senior girls basketball player Kate Heinzelman. I had a great conversation with her, and we're going to share that for you today on Running Point. That's going to be the player profile featured. And then, as always, we will preview tonight's action as we gear towards another wonderful night of basketball. A lot of good matchups tonight on Tuesday. The boys' last real kind of week of the, I should say, full slate of the regular season. There are still some teams next week that are going to be having some tournament, tune-ups and things like that. But this is the last week where we're going to have full slates of games every day. So tournament time is approaching. The boys' bracket came out yesterday. Well, actually Sunday. Like I said yesterday, as soon as my lungs are at full capacity, it's a lot of talking, a lot to go over. We will definitely do a bracket show for the boys too. I'm coming off of a little bit of an illness, and my respiratory system does take a little bit of time to recover. I am healthy. I feel fine. But as you can probably even tell just by listening to me talk, my lungs aren't there yet. So bear with me today if I do have a little bit of a coughing spree or something like that. We do have something in the tank in case that happens. We can play for you guys to give my lungs a break, but didn't happen yesterday, so I'm hoping we get through it today as well. Let's start with the scoreboard. Let's go into the scoreboard, brought to you at ysnlive.com, presented by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. I'm going to scroll up so you see their wonderful logo. We are so lucky to have a partnership with Burnett Pools that lets us bring you this YSN scoreboard. It's a great tool for the fans. Whether you're at one of the games that we're covering or you're watching one of our broadcasts, either way, you don't want to look away from the action for too long. The YSN scoreboard is a great and easy way to find live, updated scores of your favorite YSN teams, whether it be your friends or maybe your rivals. Either way, live updated scoreboard, which means you don't have to wait until 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night for the final scores to come in, because we have a great team behind the scenes that does a lot of hard work making sure that the announcers are reporting the scores and we're getting these scores updated as much as possible. So with that being said, let's look at what happened last night. Girls basketball. And these are all tournament tune-up games, as some of these teams wrapped up the regular season. Some of them are just almost wrapping them up. The tournament starts a week from Wednesday for the girls basketball teams in the YSN family. In Ohio, I should say, we have a couple of PA teams that don't start next Wednesday. Wyndham went to Rootstown. They fall to the Rovers 67-24. That is the first score on the scoreboard. How about the comeback from Western Reserve? Western Reserve was down 19 points at one point in this game, and they have a furious comeback against Cheney, and they get the win 59-56. Angelina Capabianca having a huge day for the Blue Devils. You can find a post-game interview with her and Steve Miller on our YouTube page and also on the story about this game on ysnlive.com. Ty Bartell doing a great job writing that story and also doing those interviews. Go check that out on our website, please. Poland gets their championship outright. It's what they've been looking for all year. They took them to the last game of the regular season, but they were able to wrap it up last night. They win over Hubbard, 40-26, the final score there. It was senior night as well for the Bulldogs. They recognized Mary Brandt, Allie Grope, and Leanne Williams, their three seniors on the year. Mary Brandt was great. Great moment before the game, I should say during the game. First bucket of the game belonged to her, and it was a wonderful opportunity that not only Poland was able to do that, but Hubbard was gracious enough to let that happen. Of course, Hubbard got to equalize it with a bucket of their own, so really the game started off at 2-2. Hubbard had a really good first quarter. I mean, they really put the pressure on Poland. Poland went up early, 11-2, and then check this out. Hubbard goes on a 12-0 run in the first quarter. They end the first quarter up 14-12, but it was 14-11 at one point. But they just could not keep that same intensity up the whole night. As obviously you see the rest of the game after that first quarter, only able to score 12 points the rest of the way. Poland's defense locked down. Their offense, no one blew away. I mean, Eliana Thompson had 16, and then there were a bunch of players that scored 4 or less. In fact, 8 Bulldogs scored last night. 7 of them scored 4 points or less, so everyone chipped in. Thompson had 16. And the Bulldogs are now the holders of 6 consecutive NE8 trophies. I was quickly reminded that it's 7 overall league championships in a row because the year before the NE8 started, Poland also won their conference. That was Bella Gaidis's senior season, her last year at Poland, and she is now on the coaching staff there in that program. But so the year before YSN started, actually the year YSN started, but the year before Poland became a YSN team, Poland joined YSN in the 18-19 season. So the 17-18 season, when we came up as a company, Poland won the AAC Blue Tier, and then when we signed them on in 18-19 and until now, they've won every NE8 championship that has existed. They've only shared once in that run for the NE8. So 5 out of the 6 years, Poland has won the NE8 outright, and they have still, and I can say this without jinxing them now because the season is done, so until next year, where everyone will have another opportunity, Poland has still not lost a league game at home in 6 seasons in the NE8. No one in the NE8 has ever beaten Poland at home. That stands for at least another, 6 months before next November when Poland gets on the floor again in league play at home. So impressive way for Poland to just fight from adversity and just have that winning program they always do. You know, when your star player goes down and there's still league games in the balance and you're able to go and beat a team like South Range at home and you're able to hold off Struthers and get a buzzer beater there in the field house, you're able to beat a Hubbard team that is very competitive. You look at their losses, they don't lose by a lot too often. It's remarkable what this Poland team was able to do. Probably, Nick Blanche will probably say the one that they've will treasure the most as far as league championships go, because the memories made in this season and the things they had to come back from, it's nothing short of just the culture, the winning mentality, the culture that has been instilled in that program. That is what lifted them this year for sure. We go on to the schedule where the next team Poland will play, Pymatuning Valley. That's going to be their first tournament game on February 24th in the sectional final. Pymatuning Valley gets the win over Jefferson 61-60. Close one for the Lakers. So once again, Lakers have a couple of games left. They have, I believe, 3 more games after that one. So Poland's done, but Lakers cannot focus on Poland yet. but Poland now focusing on Pymatuning Valley for the next 11 days. So could that be an advantage? We'll see. We'll see when tournament time comes up. Poland will travel to Pymatuning Valley on Saturday, February 24th. 1 o'clock is the start time for that one. McDonald goes to Heartland Christian last night, and it's a good game. It's a really good game. One of the better offensive performances that we've seen from McDonald all year, but it's just not enough to stop Heartland Christian. 63-59. Lions get the win. These Lions are continuing to have an incredible all this year. They have more wins than any team has had in Heartland, any girls basketball team has had in the program's history. 13 now after they get the win over McDonald. They broke that record a couple of weeks ago, and they keep going. This Heartland team's really, really good. The Reynolds, Sarah and Rachel Reynolds, are both putting on a show. You have Riley Shadowins, who's scoring a lot. This is a really good Heartland Christian girls basketball team, and they've been able to make history. It is the historic Lions team, and we're proud of them. We're proud of them getting a win against McDonald in the Purple Palace in a very close contested game. On YSN2, by the way, Mark Franken with a heck of a call. If you didn't get the chance to see it, reminder, all of our games, including that Heartland Christian game, available the next day on the on-demand section on that school's website, on that school's page on YSN, I should say. $2.99 for purchase and have forever. So if you missed that game, or if you want to relive all the moments, make sure to head on the on-demand section from either McDonald or Heartland Christian's YSN page and make your $2.99 download purchase. Minerva and Lisbon came into last night with pretty identical records, but Minerva is able to get the win over Lisbon pretty handily, and I think 52-18. I think this just proves scheduling does matter, in matchups, and obviously Minerva just playing a gauntlet of a schedule. To have that record, it's not the same. You're playing West Branch twice. You're playing Marlington twice. You're playing Salem twice. You play playing Carrollton twice. You're playing other, all the other EBC teams, but then other Division II type caliber teams in the out of conference, schedule. Minerva came into Lisbon, and they proved that schedule kind of carries some weight, as the teams both having kind of the same struggles this season, but Minerva ready for that level of basketball as they win 52-18. Lowville goes to Youngstown East, but the Bears are just too much for the Rockets. 47-29 final score there. Good win for East. Warren JFK at home, no problems at all with Cleveland Central Catholic. 72-28, the Eagles get the win. We go to Beaver, where they fell in their season finale. They will not make the playoffs on the girls' side, and they end their season with a 49-23 loss to Pine Richland. We want to congratulate the Bobcats on the first season with YSN. It was great to cover you guys throughout the season. Noah Doty got very, very familiar with Beaver area. And we are so glad you're a part of the YSN family. And we can't wait to see what you have in store next winter for the girls basketball program. Campbell Memorial and East Palestine doing some battle, and East Palestine gets the big win over Campbell. 30-17, the final score there. Walsh Jesuit comes into Mooney. They're just too much for the Cardinals to handle. 58-42, the final score. Mooney gets the win. East Liverpool ending the regular season with a really strong winning streak. They have some momentum heading into their tournament time. They win over United, a big win over a 15-win United, the Eagles team. 40-27, your final score. Kenzie Headley with a big game, 18 points for her. And then Reagan Edwards defended Addie Blazer and held her to just 3 points all night. So a really, really good performance for the Potters on both the defensive and offensive side. Grace Knight had 14 points for the Eagles to lead them. Both teams look forward to their tournament games, as United is going to host Villa Anna St. Joe's on the 21st, and then East Liverpool will host Philo, both in sectional semifinals in the OHSA tournament. Newton Falls closes out their season with some revenge on Brookfield as they win over the Warriors 38-25. Final score there. Newton Falls won the first quarter 15-4. It was kind of their game from that point on. Newton Falls lost to Brookfield earlier in the season. So this one feels good for the Tigers going into tournament time with a win over a team that they lost to before, showing their growth over the season. Danny Drake had a big game for the Tigers. So did Lily Sate. And they will end the regular season in style with a revenge game over Brookfield. We have LeBray getting the win over Middlefield Cardinal, 69-50, the final score there for the Vikings. Last but not least, Liberty goes to Garrettsville Garfield, spoils senior night with a win, 35-30. Liberty, like I said before, I saw them at Brookfield. I saw them actually 2 games in a week against South Range and against Brookfield earlier on in the season, and I could tell really quickly, man, this team, yes, they're struggling. Yes, they're not having a great season, but man, do they play hard? Do they play with intensity? Do they have the drive that you need to be successful in basketball? It's just the little things that held them back, being able to score, being able to put the ball in the hoop. Obviously, those are things you learn in time, but I loved watching them play. I love watching them fight. I love watching them just be coachable kids. They almost got the win in that Brookfield game I did. Brookfield was able to, pull it out the last second with Kaylee Wellman making a really good fadeaway jumper. But you're seeing the last couple of weeks racking together some wins. At that point, they had 1 win on the year, and that was a couple of weeks ago. And now here we are at the end of the season. This is their 4th win of the year. So they've been able to rack a couple up in the last couple of weeks. And that's just not only good for, feeling good going into tournament time and trying to get, a postseason shocker, but also just building in the next year. I think the coaching staff is doing a really remarkable job in Liberty. And like I said, I love watching those girls play. They were playing everything the right way, doing everything the right way, which is really fun to see. One boys game that we had last night, Beaver area was also in action on the road on the boys side, 74-72. They dropped the game to Trinity, but it's a big milestone game for the Bobcats because Brady Mayo for Beaver gets his 1,000th career point. So we congratulate him on that accomplishment. And even though Beaver lost, that's something to celebrate when you go on the road and you're able to get 1,000 career points. It was such a close game. 74-72, Trinity gets the win over the Bobcats last night on the boys side of basketball. That will conclude the recap section of the show. What we're going to do is we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we will have a player profile to get to. Kate Hainzelman from Niles, the senior girls basketball player, coming up after this commercial break. Running Point always brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Back in a bit.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
What can you do on over 5,000 acres? At Mill Creek Metro Parks, you can discover unique habitats and wildlife, create memorable family moments, experience history, heritage, and park programs, explore scenic landscapes, take time to relax and be well, connect with nature and each other. Come see what's new at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Plan your trip now at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means taking care of our local customers.
And it's just a great feeling to put them in a vehicle and get them all excited about a new vehicle.
At the end of the day, our goal is to be someone our customers can count on.
And every day I'll go the extra mile for the community so they can trust us.
To do anything that would convenience the customer or make them feel more at home.
Realizing, number one, that we're here for them and that we're not going to go away.
That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. You can find them in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Make sure to head over to them if you're in the market for a new or used vehicle. They go the extra mile for you. You just heard about it in that commercial break. And we try to do the same here on this show every single day. We try to follow their lead because they are our glorious sponsor for this show. And one of the ways we do that is, of course, our player profiles that we feature. We try to get one every day featured on the show, either a player profile or a coach's corner, something to highlight the great athletes that we have in the area or the great coaches we have in the area. And we're going to do so today because we're going to go into Niles, who is having a really good season. For the Dragons on the girls basketball side. They have more wins this year than they have had in any of the last 3 years, which is Kate Heinzelman's career. And if they have, when at the time of this interview, I should say, 9 wins this year would be more than the last 3 years combined. So they are definitely in the midst of a turnaround in Niles, and a big reason why. It's the leadership of Katie Heinzelman and the ability to just keep everybody just a little bit more loose than they've had been. I think one of the things she talks about, and you'll hear it in this interview, learning how to lead while losing. And I know that sounds, really kind of weird, and it makes people look at me with like a dog listens to a high pitched noise. But I think Niles knew that they're not going to win every game, and I think beforehand. In years past, when they would lose and maybe lose 5 or 6 or 7 in a row, the leadership would just kind of sink away. And I think Kate this year has brought a sense of we're gonna take everything that we have in this team, and we're gonna have fun with it, and we're gonna play loose. we're going to not take it seriously enough that one loss affects the next and the next and the next. And I think that's why Niles this year has stayed away from those long season kind of season. I don't want to say season ending, but season, demoralizing losing streaks, because they haven't taken things so seriously that it kind of crumbles. Still, they lock in, and when it's time to play, it's time to play. I'm not saying that they don't do that, but at the same time, it's like you got to remember at some point it's just a game, and the scoreboard does not affect how you're going to respond to it. And I think that's a great life lesson to learn, because you have to respond to losses in life, right? Whether you're on the court, on the field, you could go undefeated in your whole sports career, which almost never happens. I don't think there's anyone that's never lost a game in their sports career. But if there is, congratulations, you did not lose as an athlete. You're going to lose at something. That life is going to hand you an L at some point. I promise you that. No one goes through life without any L's at all. And how you respond to it is important. And I think Niles this year has done a wonderful job at learning from it and building from it and really making a great program turnaround. And I know Kate's senior leadership is a big reason why. It's a great interview. It's a great conversation. Here it is from Niles girls basketball, senior Kate Heinzelman. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. We're here with the Niles girls basketball player profile. I'm joined by Katie Heinzelman. Katie, thank you so much for your time and talking with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So we've been watching this Niles program this year, and it seems like it's picking up. You have 7 wins so far on the year. It's more than you've gotten in other seasons past. So my big question first is, from a senior's perspective, from a leader's perspective, what have been some of the keys to success in this Niles program this year?
I think this year we've seen a big turnaround. We've had a lot of help from our young girls. Throughout the other seasons before, we hadn't really had as much consistency with younger grades, and with the growing up being the younger grade, I think now that we're older, we are able to have a bit more contribution to the win. I think we've had a lot of consistency in practice and coming to practice, but also putting the work in while we're there, also having fun. So I think that's really helped a lot this year.
You come in as a senior and it's going to be a younger team. You're going to have a lot of young players on the roster. What have you been doing as a leader to try to nurture those young players and try to give them as much confidence as possible?
So most of these girls I've known for a long time, but also I played soccer with them this year and I was team captain there. So with having that team environment and then going into basketball, it's kind of been the same thing. We prioritize being friends and having that relationship before not being teammates, but more me an authoritative position in a leadership. And I prioritize being there as a person for them rather than guiding them in that way.
Let's talk about senior season. It's the last time you're doing everything. You have to deal with the emotions that senior year can bring. How have you been handling senior year and all that stuff that it can give you?
So for me, basketball is a very fun sport. I wouldn't say I take it as seriously as soccer. I definitely, of course, want to win, want to have the same aspects as soccer, but I think for me, being a senior is a little bit nostalgic on our past times growing up. We used to play basketball in people's we would have these things called money ball, and we would play in driveways of all of our friends' house. We would do that, and then we'd go swimming after. So it's fun, but I take it more of a fun thing rather than having to and like being super very strong with everything I do. I just try to have fun. So that's more of my focus for this year than anything else.
Well, you said it. Basketball is just a fun for you. You're not trying to take it too seriously. You're trying to just go out there and use it as a release and having fun. What's it like for you to have something in your life like that? I'm sure school is stressful senior year. I'm sure the future and trying to look past high school is stressful. What's it like for you to have basketball as an outlet, of something that you can just go and not take too seriously and just have fun playing the sport that you obviously love?
I think for me, I'm very academically involved. So I'm in all honors AP, CCP classes, and I'm the salutatorian of the 2024 class. So basketball is sort of a release that I can do physically to get my mind off school, get my mind off my social life. But also, I think that in this generation, it's nice to have something that's sort of stable with an everyday routine other than going to school. So I think it's nice that you can go and you have those girls going to be there every day. You have your friends that are going to be on the court playing with you. And you kind of have that stability of knowing that's going to be there every day when you're done with school.
You brought up soccer a couple of times, and obviously you've said it was a sport that you've taken a little bit more seriously. You've wanted to go out there and compete in soccer. What was it like transitioning from that senior season and then going into a basketball senior season?
I think it's kind of nice because, like I said, all of the same girls pretty much play. So you didn't lose all, and it wasn't saying goodbye to those people like I'm never going to play with again. Of course, there's a few, but the majority, we all play the same sports. So it was kind of nice to go from, I mean, it's a sad thing, but then now it's a new beginning. We're all playing basketball together. And then it was sad to lose, but at least we're still in to be able to play basketball. So it's kind of a win. It's a lose and a win there, but
As we talk about this Niles community and the support they give you, and just what it's like to be in this school system and to be in the student body, what are some things that make Niles special to you and make it feel like home?
I feel like in Niles, I mean, I don't know any other different. I've only lived here my whole life, but I think it's nice to have so many different things that you can be a part of and be very involved in. There's many different clubs, many different activities, many things that you join and find your niche group of people that you really fit in with and feel like you belong. So that's nice, and I think I've done that in my high school experience.
You know, we've asked you about your leadership qualities and the things that you're trying to do to guide these younger players. What about you? Who are some players in the past that have guided you and shown you how to be this senior leader and taught you how to lead?
So in basketball, we had, when I was a freshman, we had, I think it was 4 seniors. And they were very good people, and they taught me a lot of qualities about how to treat just people in general. But my coaches back then, they're very good people. They taught me about how to get over what I want to do and do what I think is best for the team. Very muchly so about consistency. Staying in the gym every day was a big part of their philosophy. Now I think I've learned a lot from my soccer environment, but also in school there's very many there's people ahead of me. My brother was in grades ahead of me, so there's a few of those girls and people that they've taught me what to do as I grow older to the senior years, how they treated me when I was a freshman. So I just model off of those people around me.
We know, high school sports are not all about wins and losses. There's so much more that goes into playing a sport than just the final result. But getting the wins this year, being able to stack a couple of wins here and there, 7 total right now for Niles, something that this basketball program really hasn't been able to do in the past, stack wins together. What is that doing for the morale of this team, being able to be loose and have fun, being able to have those results to lean back on and say, hey, what we're doing is working. We're seeing the results on the floor.
So I think when I was a freshman and in younger grades, we didn't win a lot, which everyone knows that. And I didn't really have too many people to look up to in the basketball aspect because there was no other point guard ahead of me. I learned from my coaches solely, and I started as a freshman throughout my whole entire career playing basketball. So I think by being able to teach those younger girls how to win, it's kind of going to guide them to further go forth and win all of their games. I hope so when they become a senior. But I also think it's nice how to lose too. I mean, everybody needs to learn how to lose. You're going to lose at something in life.
Right.
So I think that everybody should be able to be taught when to lose. And I think as the leader that I've done an okay job of handling, teaching them how to do both things.
You're talking about life lessons that you can take from the sport, which I love. It's a perfect segue into the next question. What do you think you can take away from your basketball career after you graduate that you can use in your future, in your life, in whatever career path you're going into?
I think one of the biggest things is how to maintain friendships in an environment that can get a little bit stressful and a bit heated. So when people get upset with each other, it's hard to know as a leader when to step in and say something that needs more stern while also still maintaining that boundary of no, we're still friends when we get off the floor. We're still the same people. Nothing it's left on the floor. So I think that's a big lesson that I've learned.
You're in all honor classes, you're salutatorian, you're going to do a lot of great things with your education. How do you balance it all? How are you able to play soccer, play basketball, have a social life, and put so much work into your schoolwork? What are some keys to balancing all your time?
I think the big key, which is hard for a lot of people and a lot of students in my school, is I do not procrastinate at all. As soon as I get an assignment, I'm doing it right at that moment. Whenever I have time, I get everything done so then I don't have to sit around and do homework on the weekend, and I don't have to sit around and study this and study that because I already used my during the week, during the school day, in the mornings, that I can do whatever I want at night, go to all the boys' basketball games, go out on the week, and have fun with my friends. So I think being without procrastination, I've gotten a lot done and made accomplishments.
Have you always been that person that doesn't procrastinate, or did you have to have like a come to Jesus moment almost at some point and be like, I can't do this anymore?
No, I've always gotten everything done. That's one of the biggest things about the people around me, like my friends in school. We're all in the same classes. So they're like, "Oh my gosh, how did you get everything done?" And I don't know. I just do it. I have to get it done so fast.
Do you think there are people in your family that taught you those skills at an early age? Like, this is how we do things in this household?
My mom is a big she's influenced me a lot in my life. She's my best friend. She hates waiting around. She wants to do everything, get everything done, and she I think has influenced a lot about that, but that's probably the most influence that the people that have made me like that.
Let's talk a little bit more in depth about your future. Obviously, I'm sure you have goals that you want to achieve when you graduate. What are some things that you see on your future board after Niles High School is over?
So I will be attending Kent State University to become a pilot, and I'm going to minor in some sort of engineering I'm thinking about. So that's the plan as of now. And I just hope to succeed in that and see from there.
How did you get into wanting to become a pilot? That's a very unique career path that, we don't hear a lot on our player profiles. What were some things that drew you to that?
Well, a lot of my cousins are pilots. Two of them were in the Air Force, and then my other one really good family friend, she was a pilot for an airline in Florida. So I've learned a lot about it throughout the past couple years, just being around them. So I just have a really drive to travel. I really want to travel a lot. And it would be fun to fly a plane all the time. So that's it. But I'm really good also at science and math. So that's a big part of it too. I think it'll be towards my strengths. And yeah, so that's the plan.
If you let's go way into the future, you have a plane, you have a pilot's license, and they say you can fly anywhere, you can go anywhere. Where's the first place you're going to fly yourself to?
Oh, that's a hard question. Right now, I would probably say Italy. Everybody knows that knows me. They know I really want to go to Italy so bad because I'm Italian. And I've never been there, which is kind of surprising because the amount of times I talk about it. So I'd probably go do that, but also just anywhere. I would go anywhere. So I really travel, see what the world's about, and you know.
Italy's where you want to go. What are some of your favorite vacation spots that you have been at? Some of your family vacation spots?
So we've gone to Miami a couple times. We went to Mexico. We've gone to just recently we went to Park City, Utah to ski, and a big part of the thing in my family and my basketball coaches know because I've missed sometimes to go skiing. And so going to Park City, Utah, that was probably one of the most memorable experiences that I've gone to just because it was recent. But we really like to ski. This year we're going to go to Whistler, Canada, ski soon. So that's that's really going to be excited. So yeah, those are probably memorable.
I'm sure your basketball coaches were just saying, "Don't hurt yourself on that ski mountain for the love
Yeah.
of everything."
Yeah.
Be safe.
When I was young, I broke my leg skiing when I was 4 years old, so they're a little leery and letting me go.
Oh no. Before we let you go, one last question for you. We've all dealt with adversity. One of the things I love to ask seniors because they're the most tenured, they've gone through the most. What do you think is the biggest form of adversity you've had to face in your athletics career, whether it be soccer or basketball? And how did you kind of get yourself through it?
I think the biggest adversity was not winning. It's hard to go practice every day and go to all these games for years and not win a game, which is it's hard as an athlete to keep going and just keep going every single day, every day. And I think that was one of the biggest things that we've overcome this year is being able to win. The biggest thing about that is just have a willpower and finding more in the sport than just winning. There's more to the sport than obviously just winning. So I think that was a big for me.
Katie, before we let you go, we do this with every player profile. We want to give you the time to turn the light from you off into the people that are in your life that support you and want to give you the time, as much time as you want, to give as many shout outs as you want to your support system.
So I would like to thank my mom and my dad, of course. My dad video every game and he'll try to take clips of me. I'd like to thank my papa. He saves all of the newspapers, any stat there is. I'd like to thank my other family friends, the Amber Bonacci, Rich Hale. I want to thank my teammates. They're amazing, and they know that I love them so much. I want to thank my coach for everything that he's done. That's about it.
All right, Katie, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us and talking to us about your whole career and your senior season. We know it's gone really well. We hope that it continues to go well. We wish you the best of luck, and we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
All right, thank you.
And that was Katie Heinzelman from Niles girls basketball, senior girls basketball player. Great interview with her. And I told you, I think she worded it best right at the end of that interview. Finding the deeper meaning in basketball is what's been the key for this program. And like I said, Niles is having a better season this year than they've had in the last three, especially under Katie's career. And it's actually the best season Niles has had in quite longer than that. So the Dragons are turning things around. Of course, their coaching staff means a lot to that, but also their senior leadership. Katie Heinzelman, just one of that senior class that is doing great things for the Dragons. Have a couple of really good young players too that are leading them. So excited to see what Niles has in their future. Maybe they could be the team that starts to get in that NE8 conversation here in a couple of years. Who knows? The NE8 is going to be a very young conference next year. So we're going to have to see what happens. Let's pop into the scoreboard from yesterday to today and see what games are going to be happening tonight and preview the action that you'll see on a Tuesday. Boys basketball is going to be in action February 13th. Good thing it's not a Friday because that would mean it's unlucky. LeBray and Lakeview playing each other. This is a non-conference game in Cortland. Should be a fun one between the Vikings and the Bulldogs. How about Salem non-conference going to the Beaver Dome and Beaver Local? We have Conneaut going to Ashtabula St. John up in Ashtabula County, 440 with a good one there. Badger coming down here to Poland, trying to figure out the puzzle that is the Bulldogs defense. We have Buckeye Local traveling to Edison tonight. Crestview going to Valley Christian. Youngstown East going to make a trip to Struthers to try to fight the Wildcats in the Fieldhouse. We have Edgewood hosting Fairport Harding. I like their social media account with the game day picture for this is just a sign that says "Gone Fishing," because Fairport Harding is a Skippies. So they're trying to catch a big one tonight in Ashtabula County for the Warriors. Jefferson Boys hosting Grand Valley. We have Jackson Milton going outside of their conference to travel to Columbiana. Latonia travels to Heartland Christian tonight. East Palestine outside of the conference as well. They're hosting Lordstown. We have Niles making a trip to Newton Falls. Lisbon hosting Oak Glen. Waterloo will be at home against Portage County foe Rootstown. We have Garrettsville Garfield hosting a Portage County foe as well as they welcome in Ravenna Southeast. Springfield and Girard doing battle tonight in Girard. Steubenville Central Catholic traveling to Wellsville. We have the Urban Scholars going to Brookfield tonight. South Range on the road at Lowville. That was a big game for the Raiders last year. After their slow start, one of the big things that turned them around and gave them confidence was beating Lowville in South Range. We'll have to see how this round goes. Campbell making the road trip to Warren JFK, and that's another tough game for the Eagles. Their schedule is full of them. Our Hoban coming down into our neck of the woods as they have a YSN matchup against Youngstown Ursuline. In Ursuline, Pymatuning Valley hosting Geneva tonight. Cardinal Mooney hosting Cheney. I want to make a scheduling adjustment here for those of you that are going. This game was originally scheduled for 7. It will now start around 8 o'clock. JV tipping at 6:30. There is an NHS function in the gym beforehand, so that is going to push the start time of this Mooney and Cheney game to around probably varsity around 8 o'clock. JV tips at 6:30. So just be aware of that if you're heading down to Mooney for that game between Cheney and the Cardinals. Speaking of the Cardinals, we have Canfield going to Boardman tonight to match up for a second time with the Spartans. We have Chalker hosting Sebring. Beaver played Trinity last night, so that is a 72-74 Trinity win for the Bobcats as they went to Trinity last night and fell. But remember, Brady Mayo did have his 1,000th career point, so congratulations to him. Girls action tonight, a makeup game between Austintown, Fitch, and Howland as they square away their conference schedule. That'll be a fun one between the Tigers and Falcons. And then Pymatuning Valley traveling to Maplewood tonight in girls basketball. As I said, they have a couple of games before their first tournament game against Poland on the 24th, the sectional final. Let's go into what announcers will be where tonight so you know what games are covered and who will have you covered as far as the YSN announcer roster goes. As we take a look, got a lot of games on the network tonight, and we start with girls basketball. We will be in Austintown Fitch. Noah Ricks making the trip there. So that one will be covered. We have boys basketball, and we'll go back to the top here. LeBray at Lakeview, going to be handled by the Lakeview boys down there, Sam Ballast and Jake Nicholas on the call. Sam Torres going to be in Ashtabula County for St. John against Conneaut. The students at Poland going to be covering their game against Badger. That one's on the network. Steve Hodge will be in Valley Christian for their matchup with Crestview. We have the Zaney, Bob Zaney and Matthew McConaughey in Struthers as they welcome in Youngstown East. Larry Jennings going to be in Edgewood for their matchup with Fairport Harding. Tyler Hart's going to be there for Grand Valley and Jefferson. We have Joe Cibio at Columbiana for their matchup with Jackson Milton. Mark Franken going to be in Heartland Christian as they welcome in Latonia. We have Tim and Dan Figley going to be on the call at East Palestine for their matchup with Lordstown. Rick Daly going to be on the call in Lisbon. Chris Sigler going to Beaver Local for their matchup with Salem. Matt Marr and Jordan Barber on the call at Girard against Springfield. Gary Altice are going to be in Wellsville for their matchup with Steubenville Central Catholic. Eric Hughes going to be in Lowville as they squared off with South Range. Camel will be at Warren JFK, and that's going to be Ty Bartell on the call there. We have Tim Corso going to be in Ursuline for their matchup with Hoban. I will be in in Mooney for their matchup with Cheney. And then Canfield and Boardman going to be covered by Donnie Riccatelli. The scheduling note, the original game that was originally scheduled tonight between United and Middle Ridge has been canceled. So if you see that on your original schedule and you were planning on going to United or Middle Ridge basketball tonight, that game is not happening. So do not go to Middle Ridge. And then last but not least, we have wrestling on the network tonight. Liberty and Howland. Chris Colucci will be on the call there for that duel between the Tigers and the Leopards. So that does it for our game. Almost made it the whole show without one of those happening. But we will still take the win, right? That'll do it for tonight's preview of action. Want to remind you that all the games can be found on ysnlive.com/live. Make sure to tune in. It's going to be a great night of basketball. We'll be back tomorrow. Gary Altizer, Scotty Mincher, myself. Wrestling Wednesday, 1 to 2 on Running Point. Brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Thanks so much.